Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Home Safety Checks and Modifications, How to Achieve a Safer Home. This is part of our Falls Prevention Awareness Week through the Stepping Up to Prevent Falls Coalition of Delaware County. My name is Claire Decker, and I work at SourcePoint as the Community Education and Initiatives Manager. I oversee our insurance education, our caregiver support, our falls prevention program, chronic disease self-management, and the age-friendly initiative for Delaware County. Allie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, I'm Allie Shaproff. I am the Community Education Coordinator at SourcePoint. So with that, a very large part of my role is working with the Stepping Up to Prevent Falls Coalition and helping coordinate this Falls Prevention Awareness Week. Instead of the day, we've transitioned to the week, which is really exciting. And we're so excited to show you all of these valuable information, webinars that we have for the week. And we're excited to raise awareness.
All right. And Brian, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Brian Jackson. I'm the owner of J&J Mobility here in Delaware, Ohio. And we work closely with SourcePoint. And what we do is provide services and education to keep people safer in their homes. We provide and sell medical equipment and also do home modifications. Everything to be safe in your home. I am also CAP certified, which is a certified aging in place specialist. And I think this webinar you'll get a lot of information out of it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, guys. So as you can see, we have all the right people in the room here to talk about achieving a safer home. So I'm going to start today. Again, I'm Claire Decker from SourcePoint, and I'm going to start by just talking a little bit about what is a home safety check. So first of all, home safety checks are a walkthrough of an older adult's living space with a trained professional to identify certain risk factors in the home environment and provide suggestions for modifications to reduce environmental risk in the home. This is one step to reduce fall risks by rooting out and correcting environmental risk factors. Because, when it comes right down to it, the falls that are caused by these obstacles are 100% preventable if we would just take the time and seek out the expertise to identify those things. So just a couple of statistics to talk about a little bit why having a home safety check program in place in our county is something that's so important to SourcePoint and our Falls Coalition. 1 in 4 Americans over 65 falls each year. So that's a huge number. We know that it affects tons of people every single year. And then about 1 in 5 or 20% of those falls is going to result in a serious injury. And we know that those are injuries like hip fractures, traumatic brain injuries, things like that can lead down the line to some serious issues with staying independent and being able to be home. So we want to make sure we avoid that fall in the first place. And then lastly, between 50 and 75 or a half to 2/3 of those falls occur in the home. So we know it's that place where people think if I stay home, if I stay in my room with my stuff close to me, I don't have to get up a lot, maybe that's the safest place to be. But that's actually the exact opposite of what's really going on. We know that the majority of falls are in the home, and it's very, very important to make sure that we're keeping that home as safe as possible. So home safety check is a free inspection of your home, and that is going to be done by a trained professional. And then it's also going to result in some suggestions on how to make your home safer. Often a simple improvement like better lighting or grab bars in the shower can make a significant impact on your safety. And we're going to talk a little bit more about those specific suggestions and how you might be able to get those modifications. So the next thing I want to talk about is who does a home safety check. So many professionals can become trained to administer a home safety check, including, folks like a physical therapist, occupational therapist, first responders, and others. In Delaware County, SourcePoint, along with partners from the Stepping Up to Prevent Falls Coalition of Delaware County and our existing service provider network, will be the ones who are providing trained professionals to perform home safety checks in the coming years. So we're working on getting this up and coming when folks are safely able to come into homes again and things like that. And then this is a big thing that I wanted to talk about today. So we have this myth out there that people think, if they come into my house and they find a fall hazard, then I'll have to move somewhere I don't want to live. They're going to tell me I need to leave, those kinds of things. So we hear that a lot. We hear concerns about if we start to suggest or discuss a home safety check, folks get concerned about it's a way to decrease their independence, or that someone's going to come and tell them they're no longer fit to live there. That is not the intention of a home safety check. So if you can take one thing away from this webinar today, I want it to be that. Home safety checks are meant to help older adults stay safely where they want to reside as long as they possibly can. It goes right along with SourcePoint's mission to help Delaware County residents and 55 and older to live well. And SourcePoint strives to provide older adults and their families with choices that promote healthy aging and independence. So services like home safety checks help seniors remain living independently and safely at home where they want to be. So that's one thing I just wanted to touch on there. And I think I'm going to throw it over to Allie to talk a little bit about examples of environmental fall risk factors and some suggestions for modifications, just to give you an idea of what might be found in a home safety check.
Alrighty, so you'll see here what looks like a pretty standard and typical living room. I know that mine looks a lot like this, but as we have someone come in to do a home safety check, they're going to look at this from a outside perspective and notice things that might be increasing your risk of falls. So the very first thing that I notice here is you have a rug that is kind of pulled up in the center. And as you can imagine, that can be a really big tripping hazard. And a way to decrease that risk is to just eliminate rugs altogether, or find some, they make special tape that you can use to flatten rugs, but when in doubt, you can always eliminate the rugs in the room to decrease that risk of falling. Another thing is you'll see a couple cords here that are attached to different light fixtures, and one of them is even going all the way into the center of the room. And if you're not paying attention, or if it's dark in the room, that can be an easy trip hazard. So a way to decrease that risk is to first maybe change your lighting sources that you have so there is no need for cords, or if you do need that additional lighting, they make special covers to cover the cords, or if that's not an option for you, maybe there's another area in the room that you could place that light source in which that cord will not be anywhere near your walking path in that room. So speaking of lighting, there's not really a good example in this picture, but a really important thing to make sure that we have in our homes to eliminate that risk for falls is to make sure that we have adequate lighting in our homes. That's so important and often overlooked. So a solution to that might just be installing those night lights in our outlets that are motion activated, or actual light activated, in which they know to automatically turn on when we need that additional light source. You'll also see a broken chair here in this image. Broken furniture. I mean, you can see part of it is down on the floor. So if you're not paying attention to where you're walking, that can easily trip someone up. A way to fix that might be eliminating that chair altogether, or fixing it yourself, or asking a friend or family member to come in and fix that for you. Another thing that I want to hit on with this picture, and something that a lot of people have in their homes, is a lot of stuff. I mean, it's our homes, we accumulate a lot of things as time goes on, and a lot of that can eliminate the walk path that you have in your home. So if you don't have a wide enough walk path and you have too much furniture that's deterring you from getting where you need to be, that can be a big fall risk as well. So moving on, So we have a kitchen example. A lot of falls will happen in the kitchen. And as you can see, this person is reaching for a high cabinet on a stool. And a way to eliminate that could be potentially one of those grab bars, or placing everything that you need in a place that is easier to reach. That way you're not having to step up on a stool. Again, here we see that rug that could easily trip someone. So getting that out of the kitchen. Another big thing to note in this picture is the dog that's behind that person. I know that any of you that have pets understand that, they love us so much. They want to be underneath us at all times. I know mine do. Mine are under me as I speak right now. And it's important to always be aware of where our pets are. I am not ever going to tell someone to get rid of their pets because they're family, but maybe working with them and just maybe training them to stay away when you're performing something like this, as far as being on a stool, or just always being aware that your pets may be underneath of you. Yeah, I mean, I think these pictures are very good examples of what our typical homes look like. And, I'm looking at my home right now as I'm sitting in my kitchen, and I do see some cords. And that's why it's so important to get that outside perspective of someone coming into your homes and helping you, show you ways that you can eliminate or lower the risk of falls in your own home. Like Claire said, we're not trying to kick you out of your house. We want you to stay in your home as long as possible. And that's what these home safety checks are for. It's to notice these things like the rug or the pot on the counter that you could just slip over, or reaching for things that maybe you could put in a different place in the kitchen. So all about the small things. These small things all add up together, and it's important to be aware of what is increasing our risk for falls. So I'll hand it back over to you, Claire.
Awesome. Thank you, Allie. So yeah, just some examples of what we might see in a home safety check, things that we all get used to in our own homes and don't even see it anymore. Having that outside perspective of someone who is trained to see those things and offer support, ideas for how to decrease fall risk, and then potentially larger modifications. So some of the things that Allie is talking about, getting a different lamp or tacking down a rug, could probably be things we can do fairly easily on our own. Brian's going to talk about a few things that you can do on your own as well, but then there are some times they're kind of moderate to larger projects that could really, really decrease the fall risk in the home, and that is what J&J Mobility does, and that's why we've invited him here today. So Brian, I'm going to pass it over to you to talk about home modification.
Sure. Thank you, Claire and Allie. I guess I would start out with some things that you could do yourself, or maybe have a neighbor do, that would not cost any money or very little money. Adjusting the temperature of your hot water heater to make sure it's 120 degrees or below is something that a lot of people never think of or forget about, and that can be an issue with scalding, especially when you're an older adult. And the Red Cross in Delaware is actually providing smoke detectors too, and will install them for free in seniors' homes right now. We will have to check with the COVID restrictions, but I think they're back at it again. So that's huge, and it's something to take advantage of. For certain things that require our help or our installs, I think bathroom safety is going to be the main focus. The majority of falls that require hospitalization or treatment happen in the bathroom. All the surfaces are hard. The floor is going to be wet. It's just easy to fall in the bathroom. Some of the things we offer are shower chairs, transfer benches where you can actually sit on a bench outside of the bathtub and kind of scoot over and lift your legs up into the bathtub so you're not standing up and then sitting down and having to worry about getting back up too, because that's most of the falls we see, that's where it happens, is somebody trying to get up out of the tub. Their hands are wet to grab onto a grab bar afterwards, and it's always good to have that transfer bench there if you're having any difficulties like that. We also do stair lifts. A lot of older homes, especially in Delaware, have laundry in the basement. So even if you have a handrail on each side of the staircase going up, if you're trying to carry a laundry basket upstairs or anything in your hands, you have nothing to grab on to either railing with. So a stair lift is a good option for that. The price on those things have went down over the years too, with more competition. So it's something to look into if you're needing that type of service or that type of equipment. Grab bars are another very important thing. Grab bars and railings. If you already have railings, I suggest you make sure they're nice and tight. Maybe have us or a neighbor tighten them if they need tightened. A lot of times it just requires a couple screws into a deck or porch. Because most steps do have some type of railing system if it's a newer home, especially with the steps. I guess I could show you around a little bit for some equipment.
That would be awesome. We'd love to
see how it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we offer lift chairs here, but these will actually lift up and help somebody get up from a seated position. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes, that was perfect.
So, yeah. So when you sit in it, you can actually get up easy from a seated position.
Okay.
And that really helps with the fall risk from somebody seated and starting to rock back and forth to be able to get up.
Sure.
Eliminates the rocking part of it.
So it kind of brings your center of gravity up a little higher so that when you gauge your leg strength, you're already partway there.
A better perspective of that.
Awesome.
Yeah. And we also have stair lifts here that we install. And this is a little mock-up version here of a stair lift. And this really takes the fall risk out of steps. And when you get to the top, here, you can swivel around, and it actually makes it so you're getting off and on, and your feet are on the landing away from the steps and the staircase. So it really takes the fall risk out of the stairs.
Very good. Yeah.
We're a couple feet from the top of the steps. So yes. Yeah. But I do have a bathtub here with a little grab rail and a transfer bench. So I'll have somebody hold the phone real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. So this one. So a grab bar, we usually do 2 in a standard shower. You would have one going in the bathtub or shower, and then one diagonal across the back of the wall. That's usually the best setup. That way you have something to hold on to the whole time. The transfer bench I talked about earlier enables you to sit on the outside of the bathtub, swing your legs over, and scoot into the bathtub.
Uh-huh.
Have your shower curtain across here. Most people have trouble lifting their legs up the 17 inches that standard tub is, the 17-inch height. So that's a really, really good idea. The toilet area might be another issue that people have, and we have these toilet seat risers here.
Ah, okay. So it just makes it higher.
Yes,
You're not going
raises
down as
it up,
far.
'cause that's, yep, we come across that every day. People end up getting stuck on their toilet or just having a lot of difficulty getting up, and that actually raises the ground to the top of the seat height for them.
Right. It's amazing how many times in everyday life we're asked to do squats. You never knew.
Oh, right. Yes, and a lot of this stuff that people don't even know exists, or you would never know it was out there and available unless you needed it. So yeah.
Absolutely. That's awesome. I do think we have a little bit of time. If you have like a story that you'd like to share with us of a person who maybe someone who you met who said, wow, I didn't know any of this existed, and maybe something that like how having these things in their home changed their perspective, gave them some sense of control, anything like that. How can a home modification change your safety, your perspective, that kind of thing?
Sure. Well, yeah, we have a lot of stories in this. Like we installed a stair lift for a lady in Marion, and she had not been up to the upstairs of her home in 7 years. So she had not
Wow.
seen any of the bedrooms up there, nothing. And after a couple hours of installing the stair lift, she was up there and started crying right when she got to the top of the steps. Yeah, it had been 7 years. But these home modifications, big or small, really enable someone to stay in their home. No one wants to move. And it costs a lot of money to move from your home into assisted living or wherever. It is not cheap, and it's definitely always nice to be home. Um, the bathroom safety too. I guess I can't stress that enough. That for how little money you spend in the bathroom, you really get big results from that as far as grab bars go and shower chairs. I mean, those two things right there make a world of difference, and
Yeah.
will definitely keep you safe in the home.
Do
Absolutely.
you think that you hear about, I don't know, I think like bathroom stuff is stigmatized. So do you think that there's like a barrier there to accessing that kind of stuff because you don't want to admit, like, I'm afraid I'm going to get stuck on my toilet? Do you think that that's,
Yeah, it very rarely people come to us that haven't had an issue yet, or come to us as far as a preventative measure before anything happens. They unfortunately we usually get a call after they've already fallen,
yeah.
or a family member came over after they have fallen and said, "Hey, you need to install
Mhm.
these grab bars or put this equipment in for mom and dad or grandma and grandpa." So there is a stigma with it. And things have changed a little bit too. We have grab bars that do not look as commercial as what people think.
Mhm. So
A lot
lots
of
of
people.
options there.
Oh, right. A lot of people just picture the big, heavy stainless steel ones that are in every restaurant bathroom,
Mhm.
and there is more options that blend in with the decor in the bathroom, and they do not look as commercial as they used to.
That's great to know.
Sure.
So yeah, I would love to point out like what you just said is I see people after their first fall or maybe after several falls. So this is all what we would call in public health secondary prevention, right? It
Sure.
already happened. We're trying to make sure it doesn't happen again. But Falls Prevention Awareness Week, of course, is about that, but it's also about stopping it the first time. So I guess, yeah, I think a message from what you've said could be simply stated: come see us before you have to.
Sure.
Come see us,
Absolutely.
now,
Absolutely.
um, to avoid that first time. Thank you so much for being a part of this video, guys, and for sharing your expertise. And for you all out there, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you later in Falls Prevention Awareness Week for more tips and tricks. Thank you, guys.